Kia ora, good evening. Strong cargo volumes have lifted Southport to a record interim net profit, mainly thanks to bulk trades. The Bluff-based company have posted a 6-monthly profit of $3.29 million with an 8% lift in cargo volumes. Southport says consistent log export and petroleum import volumes, along with marginally higher New Zealand aluminium smelters import activity, supported the record throughput. The half year was particularly active for Southport's dry warehousing division, which handles inbound fertiliser, stock food and dairy ingredients, as well as export dairy products. The fur-flying saga between the Invercargill City Council and a defiant cat owner has cost Invercargill ratepayers almost $20,000 in court fees, and it's not over yet. Invercargill woman Avril Gardner has refused to comply with the City Council bylaw to reduce her bevy of 37 cats to just 3, and is due to appear in court again this week. After more than 3 years, the legal claws are still out, and fed-up neighbours are still awaiting a solution that will see cats reduced to the legal number allowed. Environmental Health Manager John Youngson today confirmed court costs have almost reached $19,000, a figure that does not include the cost of council staff working on the issue. The cats were deemed a health risk in court recently, and Gardner was given 21 days to reduce the cat numbers to 3 or less, which ends tomorrow. The Southern Institute of Technology started the year with its usual antics today as it welcomed Invercargill's student population for the first day of course. Orientation Week at the world's most southern polytechnic was opened with a pōwhiri to celebrate student achievement and welcome newcomers to student life. And once the official welcoming was over, it was time for students and tutors alike to get into the festivities of Market Day. Ngā Kite Mātauranga Pounamu Charitable Trust, the student support operators at SIT, said they have an action-packed week planned for students old and new.
We've successfully held the tender now for the last 2 years, and this is our 3rd year holding the tender. So SIT tendered out the orientation week, and yes, like I said, 3rd time lucky. And every year we've learnt. So every year we've been able to put on a few more bit of finesse onto the week, and look at new and innovative ways for the students to get engaged.
So it just keeps getting bigger and better?
Well, we hope so. Today was Market Day, so it's a bit of a flow through. Tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, we start adding in some cultural elements with poi making and ukulele, and also some weaving as well, and heading for a cultural performance on Friday. So really looking for something that every student can connect with, I guess. It's a great week. Today with Market Day is an opportunity for the community to come forward and meet the students, but for the rest of the week, particularly tomorrow night, is this Powerade showdown at the stadium. An opportunity for the students to get alongside the Steel and the Sharks members on the courts and get down to the climbing wall, which is all free and happening down there for tomorrow night from 6 o'clock. And to wind out the week though, will be the Lone Star Toga Party in conjunction with ZM, and that's Friday night. So we're looking forward to that, to perhaps give a bit more of a traditional element of our traditional toga party, and let's get the students engaged and locked down to the Lone Star on Friday night. I want to achieve the students feeling like they belong to the community, belong to being part of SIT in their 2015 year, kicking their 2015 year off in a good way, which is what we're all about, really.
And SIT's O Week Market Day didn't just attract students, but saw some high-profile people coming to check out the events. We caught up with Labour Party's tertiary education spokesperson David Cunliffe to find out if our local education is hitting the mark nationally.
Well, I'm visiting all the campuses for their orientation weeks, and SIT is first up. So beautiful sunny day in Invercargill, lovely to be here.
And is there a message you would like to get across to students and tertiary education providers while you're here?
Apart from study hard, have fun, do well, SIT is famous for its zero fees policy. And it's clear that as it's grown, it's been great for Invercargill and great for Southland. So I want to see, is there a lesson in this for other regions around New Zealand and their polytechs?
Are there specific courses or skills you think need to be pushed more?
Well, we know we're short around the country of people with IT and technical skills, and SIT is helping with that. SIT is also famous for things like graphic design, nursing and massage, where it has real strengths, as well as business skills. So it's serving its community well. It's got a strong trades profile, and that's really important for the polytech sector as well. And of course we've got our labour stall over there, and we've had a large number of students signing up to get more information about what's going on in the world around them and in politics.
And do you think the qualifications that are achieved here are recognised enough nationally?
I believe so. I think SIT has a pretty progressive reputation. It's growing fast. It's turning out good graduates, and of course students look around to go places where they think the qualification's worth something. Increasing numbers are coming to Invercargill.
And will you be joining in the festivities today?
I'm going to be here for much of the day. I've got to get back to Wellington tonight, but I'm really enjoying meeting the people here. It's been wonderful.
Sunday marked the first birthday for SPCA Southland's new shelter, and party animals of all shapes and sizes went along to celebrate.
For a year, the SPCA's new facility has provided a better environment for Southland animals, and what better way to celebrate than to throw a birthday party? Bouncy castles, face painting, shelter tours and even a birthday cake kept families entertained throughout the day, and a little extra attention for the animals was warmly welcomed. The SPCA said the party was not only a way of celebrating a successful year, but also thanking Southlanders for their continued support.
Stay with us after the break. We take a look at one of Invercargill's most iconic buildings, and local sculptors take on the tides. Welcome back. A truly unique art exhibition took place on the Jacobs River estuary on Saturday, but artists had to be quick so sculptures weren't washed away on the incoming tide. Southern artists took to the beach in Riverton on Saturday with ready-to-build sculptures to take part in the inaugural In Between the Tides exhibition. The unique exhibit concept was first floated some years ago.
Probably all started about 5 years ago when I was getting into trouble for actually doing what we're doing today, and it just got way out of hand with only 2 people complaining about what I was doing, but the rest of the community was behind me. But now we've gone through all the rules and regulations and getting okays from the powers that be to be able to do what we can do today, and they can see the benefits out of it, which is good for our community.
Artists were required to assemble sculptures on the day under the watchful eye of the public.
It's basically in between the tides, whatever they've found, and to create something really, really funky with it, and then as the tide comes in, to take it away again and try and leave the beach the way it was. Yeah, that's basically the rules. Just get creative between the tides.
Designs used a range of materials, mainly reclaimed or recycled, with driftwood being the most popular.
Hopefully all just found objects, whether they've been actually found on the beach or just on other beaches, and then they just bring them all together on the day and build something creative.
Moving sands, tidal water and wind all combine to test both the resilience of artists and their works.
Probably a lot of artists have never worked with this sort of materials and in this environment before, so that's probably going to be challenging for a lot of people. Has it been a success and will it happen again? Yes and yes. It's going to get bigger, and even this the first one, the inaugural one that we're doing here right now, it is better than what I was expecting. It's just really, really cool, and I can see it getting huge. Before, I could only see it being in this part of the beach, but I actually seeing it bigger and moving around into Taramia Bay and Mitchell's Bay, and actually having a bit of an art trail. And hopefully, over time, instead of it just being in between 2 tides, like between the 2 high tides, I could see it being 4 or 5 days long. So people who can't actually make it on the day, they still got another 3 or 4 days to come and see what we've put together. And it's us as a community arts centre trying to expand and get out into the public rather than being locked between the 4 walls that we do our exhibitions in, and better for the bigger community who don't actually go through into our arts centre.
With live music, stalls and food on hand, the family event looks set to be a regular on the February calendar. Margot Sutherland, South Today News. And it was the sun, sounds and community atmosphere which drew the crowds to South City at the weekend.
The summer sounds of Southland brightened another weekend with its Invercargill show at the South City Community Gardens. The sun played a big part in drawing the crowds, but good Southland music was the reason to stick around. Local performers The Hitmen and Dean Allen had people of all ages getting into the swing of things and dancing the day away. The Summer Sounds of Southland is a series of 6 concerts celebrating the great outdoors, community music and local entertainers.
Invercargill's iconic First Church opened its doors to the public on Saturday to celebrate its 100th birthday. The heritage building recently passed its earthquake-prone test with flying colours, showing its once controversial design will continue to withstand the test of time. It was all about celebrating history at the First Church on Tay Street on the weekend, and crowds came to tour the church buildings and climb the 32-metre bell tower. Reverend Richard Gray has had a long-standing family history with the church, preaching from the same pulpit as his great-grandfather, who was minister when the building design was chosen. As well as celebrating history, the First Church was making history over the weekend with the signing of an MOU with the Pacific Island Church.
The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Pacific Island Samoan congregation has been in the making for probably the last 5 or more years, with the demise of the Ocean Beach Works at Bluff and the moving out of many of our Pacific Island families from the area. The congregation became smaller and smaller, and they also had some issues with their building in Ness Street that just became beyond them, and so they needed somewhere to come and worship, and they have been worshipping with us over a number of years now, but we've come to this formal understanding. It's really just a securing of some of the financial assets and their place as a community within the church here, and so that the life and uniqueness of Samoan worship and cultural activities can continue but be part and incorporated into the life of First Church. So it will mean changes for both First Church and for the Samoan community as well.
And while there were new beginnings, chapters were also being closed, with yesterday's service of Holy Communion, Reverend Gray's last with First Church.
Following this weekend, I'm heading up to Waiuku in South Auckland, where I'm going to be minister of a Methodist Presbyterian parish there.
With the seal of approval from engineers, it's hoped the history of this fine example of Italian Romanesque design can be celebrated again in another 100 years. Margot Sutherland, South Today News. The country's best cowboys and cowgirls saddled up and competed for the country's top spot in Invercargill yesterday. The 58th annual rodeo hosted the best of the best in the last rodeo of the season as they competed for a place in the New Zealand finals and national titles. From bull rides to barrel racing, cowboys battled it out against the clock and the animals to win points for New Zealand's standings. Event organisers said the day went well, drawing a large crowd who thoroughly enjoyed themselves and the action the competitors had to offer. And time now to check out the weather.
Your forecast on Q is brought to you by Environment Southland. Environment Southland wants to know what you think about our recreational water areas. Where do you go? What do you do? And your thoughts about the water quality. You could win one of 5 $100 vouchers simply by completing their survey. The survey will help them find out whether the water is being tested in the right places and how the service can be improved. Complete the survey online by going to Environment Southland's website or pick up a hard copy from Environment Southland, the Southland District Council, Gore District Council, Invercargill City Council or Public Health South.
And taking a look at your weather today for Monday the 16th of February. High teens and low 20s for most of the country, with Auckland coming in on 24 today, Wellington 17. Christchurch made it to 18 today. Queenstown and Dunedin sharing 21, Gore on 20, and Invercargill actually should say 19 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast, Wyndham expecting a high of 25, Riverton and Winton expecting 24. Invercargill and Gore 24 tomorrow, the high, with overnight lows of 12 tonight. And for Te Anau and Queenstown 23 and 24 respectively. And to the marine forecast for Fovo, variable 10 knots to northwest 15 knots, southwest swell of 1 metre, slight sea with fair visibility. And Pusiga, variable 10 knots to northerly 15 knots, southwest swell of 1 metre, rough sea and visibility will be poor. And the long-range forecast looking pretty good as the week goes on. Showers on Wednesday with northeasterlies, showers clear though on Thursday with southerlies and mainly fine for Friday. And that brings us to a close. Sport is along next with the first wrap of the first week of Super 15 action. From the news team though, it's good night.